Hi, this is Sven. Some time ago, I released a video about my content marketing machine that I use for my personal content marketing and for our customers. And in this video, I show you an updated version of this content marketing machine that is improved, that uses the human in the loop approach, that I can verify and check the content that is produced before I release it, and much more. If you follow me through this video, you will learn the different steps and the different requirements that are necessary to produce such a content, and I will show you how it works. I'm Sven, I'm an entrepreneur, and I work for more than 30 years in quality management and process optimization. And everything I know today, I have learned by experience and by trial and error, and I know what really works. Today, I have a company group of several companies where we make software for quality. And in my videos, I want to explain how you can use intelligent process automation for your company as well. All right, let's get started. You see that automation here in the background, and it's pretty huge, so it contains lots of modules and functions, but I will guide you step by step through this automation. The result is a blog article, and I'll show you here an example. This is in German language, sorry, but I write in German, so it doesn't matter if, of course, it's very easy to translate it to English. So I have a title, I have an image at the top. I have a module that reads the article in my own voice to you if you don't want to read. Then I have an intro, some key takeaways, and then headlines and content. And after each paragraph, I have a picture that is also generated by AI. So when you look at this article, this is quite big. And the reason that I use such a big automation is that I want to produce a high quality and long article written in my own voice and with my ideas that I have in mind, and not just writing some stupid ChatGPT texts. It all starts with an idea for an article that I write down here in this cell. Then I add a topic, what is covered in the article. I add a focus keyword, the number of paragraphs I want to write about, and then I select the tone of voice here. I have a list of different tone of voice entries that I created by providing different articles, different types of texts that are then used to generate instructions for the prompt to write in my special tone of voice for the specific type of text. And the whole process is guided by this action here that I, for example, select execute research, click on the go button, and then my automation is started. And after that, it's set to research done, and then I select write article, and the next phase is execute. The automation is started by the go button in the Airtable, and then the webhook is called, and I get the record ID and use that Airtable module to read the data of that specific record. And depending on the status that was selected in the Airtable, the automation chooses which phase of this process is then executed. And the first thing we do here is that we make a research. And the research is executed by Perplexity. And in the meantime, I use Sonar Pro, which delivers really very good results. Then gather the information, consider this and that, and then at the end compile a detailed report. And that is then used and added for the creation of the text. After that, I create a folder on my Google Drive where I store relevant data. For example, we'll see that later, like this MP3 of the audio or the carousel and much more. And at the end, I write in my Airtable. And since Sonar Pro, we have the text, the result research, but we also have the citations, and I add the citations to the Airtable too, so I can add them to the blog at the end, so that it refers to real sources and not some invented links that Perplexity provided in the past. And at the end, I inform myself with an email. And that email is a link to the Airtable, so I can click on the entry, I can review the result, and I can make changes before I start the next step. The next step is to write the article based on the idea and the research. And when I work with ChatGPT in Make, I usually don't use the modules with the prompts directly here in this scenario, but I use assistants. And as you can see here in this list, I have a huge number of assistants created so far. And there are two reasons why I use assistants and not the prompting directly here. The first reason is I can, or a fix, then I just do it here in the platform, and it's then updated everywhere. If I have the prompt in the module, then I might have, I don't know, dozens of places where I have to update it. It's too much effort. The second reason is that I can have a specific knowledge base in the assistant by adding a vector database or files that contain specific knowledge that I need for the assistant. So I show you one example here. How I do that, I write what it should do in order to create a outline for the article, and using the number of paragraphs that the user wants to have, and then it answers with a JSON document with the heading and the content that is then used for filling out the article. Based on that outline, the article is then created. And for this, I need a loop. And this loop is executed for each paragraph. So in my example, I have 5 paragraphs. So this whole loop in this gray area here is executed 5 times. And what does it do? The first thing I do is to get the text that was written so far. So in the first iteration, this text is empty, of course. In the second iteration, it contains the text from the first paragraph. And then I use another assistant to write the content of the different paragraphs. And because this assistant is not aware about previous paragraphs, I must instruct it in a way that it understands what was written so far, that this whole article at the end is not just 5 different sections that are self-contained, but this is a story. And that was an important step in creating that assistant. And I give it the headline, the content it should write about, the whole outline that it understands what is the whole story, and then the text that was written so far. So it understands, okay, that was the text before. I used that to find a good transition to the next paragraph. And I give it the tone of voice that it writes in my style. Okay, then this text is generated. The result is added to that variable so that in the next iteration, it's the complete text that was written so far. Then I format that whole thing as HTML, that it looks good in the blog. And then I use that text and I generate an image prompt of it. So I have an assistant that analyzes a text, extracts the important information that can be visualized, and writes a prompt that I can use then to create an image with an image generator. Then I need a specific tool here that cleans up that image prompt, because sometimes it happens that there are specific characters in the prompt that then crash when I call the API of the image generator. So I use these replace functions for different to create the image. I use Flux, the image generator. I need this API call here. I use the Ultra version of 1.1. Here I hand over the API key, and then I use that JSON document that describes what has to be done. So this is the prompt. I want 16:9 picture. Safety tolerance is 3. Output format is JPEG. And I set raw to true because raw produces very realistic images. When you want to know how that works, just have a look into the Black Forest Labs documentation. You see that is the JSON document that you need to define in order to create an image, and all the parameters are described here. Flux, it's just the best system currently for creating images. The process of creating an image in Flux is usually less than 10 seconds, and therefore it's enough to add a sleep module of 15 seconds. So I'm on the safe side, and after that sleep action was executed, I get the result, which is just another call of the API with that ID that was created by the create image function. Then I download the image with the URL that is then produced by the result. And then I use ChatGPT again to write a short title for the image. So I just pass over the image to ChatGPT and say, analyze this and find a good title, a short title that I can write below the image in my blog. Then I upload that to my WordPress. And in the WordPress, there is one specific thing that you need to know. You have to go to the plugins section here, the plugin menu, and you have to install the Make connector. And when you install the Make connector, you have a new entry here in the menu, which is called Make. And when you open that, you get a token, and you need that token for the connection to WordPress. And the rest is easy. You then just use the create a media item, upload the data from the download function here. I use the name of the file, a part of the name of the file, and the current date in order to create a unique name. I get media item module to get the URL, which is not returned by this upload function. So it's just one more step that you have to do. And then I use that URL to integrate the image in the text. And that's the end of the loop. I add the written text to this text aggregator. So this 24 result is the text that was written and formatted as HTML. Then I add the link to the image with the caption of the image. And in that way, when then this loop was executed 5 times, the whole article is created. Text here to update the column with that information. And at the end, I write again an email to myself that I'm informed that the article was created. Same thing is after I reviewed and released the article, I can take the next step in the process. The first thing we do here is that we create a title for the article, which is just an extraction of the whole text, and then ChatGPT writes a good article that I can use as a headline. Then I write the intro and the takeaways. And of course, this is obvious. This can only be written after the article was generated. So the intro is just at the start of the text. Then the key takeaways is some kind of a summary that I can read. And if I'm too lazy to read, then it's maybe just enough to read the key takeaways. Again, I format that as HTML. Then I write a conclusion that is added to the article at the end. And of course, the conclusion is also formatted as HTML. Then I use this whole text to generate the MP3 file of it. I cloned my own voice in 11 Labs. I use this 11 Turbo model 2.5, which is just a great model, which is very cheap and fast. And then I hand over all that information. This is the title, this is the intro, this is the article, and this is the conclusion. And then this is converted in an MP3 file. And then I upload that MP3 to my Google Drive that was created before. So for example, here you see that 11 Labs file that I can use then maybe at a later point in time for a different purpose. And again, I use the same media functions like before with the images that I upload the MP3 here. Then I can integrate this MP3 in my blog post. And in the same way I created the images for the different sections, I create now an image for the whole article, the featured image. The process is exactly the same. I hand over the text to that assistant. I make a save prompt. I create the image using Flux. I download it, and then I can use it for the blog post. I let ChatGPT find a good caption for the featured image. Then I create a meta information for the blog post, which is the meta title and meta description that is used for the SEO functionality. And then at the end, I upload the title image. And then I create a draft of the blog post on my WordPress. I just add the title here. I add this text that I ask the user if he wants to listen to the audio file, and then the intro, the article, the outro, and the citations. Then I need a meta description. I need the date when it was created. And down here, I add the featured image, which is then used as the title image for the blog post. Then I get the URL of the blog post that I can use then in my postings on social media, for example. And then I create some other content. The first thing is that I have an assistant that creates a FOMO, a fear of missing out claim that I use on different situations where I say, okay, if you don't read this, then you have a problem. Then I create a newsletter of the article, which is then just a reduced version in a different tone of voice that I can use in my newsletter that I release every month on LinkedIn. And I create a LinkedIn post about this article where I just announce I wrote a new blog article, and I use that to post that on LinkedIn. And again, I update the Airtable where I write everything to the table that was produced, and then I inform myself again. Okay, next step in the process is the social media stuff. First assistant is I write posts for Facebook and Instagram and X based on that LinkedIn post. So I just use that LinkedIn post, hand it over to that assistant, and that assistant creates the post for the different platforms, which all have a different tone of voice compared to LinkedIn, for example. Then again, I create an image. In this case, it's just a simple one-to-one image so that I can use it on Instagram, for example. So the only difference that I have here is the aspect ratio. It's not 16:9, but 1:1. Process is the same as always, get the result, download the image. And then I have a very cool function, which is the writing a carousel from the article. So I have this assistant here that extracts the story of the article and condenses that in 6 slides. And these 6 slides are then created using a Google Slides template. And this template just contains all these placeholders, these variables that can then be replaced automatically by the make module. I don't know if you have ever seen that. We use these curly brackets here and use that name. So for example, here, title is that placeholder name, subtitle, and then on the following pages, you have icon and slide 1, 2, 3, and so on. And when you use that create a presentation from a template module here, you select the template, in this case, this 4 to 5 slideshow template, and then this module reads all the variables that you defined in that template, and you can just replace them by the different texts that were generated. And then this is stored on the drive. And in the next step, I convert that Google Slides to a PDF. You use that download function here, and in the advanced settings, you can select, okay, if that's a Google Slides document, then you can convert that to PDF. PDF can be used on LinkedIn. Unfortunately, that can't be posted automatically, but okay, I put it on my Google Drive and I do that just in a manual process step. On Instagram, I cannot use the PDF. I need images. So I use this Cloud Convert product, which you find on cloudconvert.com, where you can just convert in that example, what I have here, you can convert your PDF to JPEGs. This is just a call to that product. I use that download a file. Input is PDF, output is JPEG, and then you get a job ID, and using that job ID, I can download these images. And there is a little challenge here that you need a complex function to extract the images from this array. You have to use that operator, results files, the operation is export, and I get the URL, and then I can just add these images to this array aggregator, and this array aggregator later I write to the Airtable so that all images are in one cell. Then I create a number of tweets. In my case, I think 21 tweets or so about that article that I write to the Airtable as well. So I just have a loop here and I write all these tweets to the Airtable. And these tweets are posted once a day using a different automation that just reads the tweet, posts it on X, and then sets the tweet to posted. And again, I update the Airtable with all that information that was just created. And then we go over to the last step. And the last step is all that automated posting. So first thing is I download the featured image, which I use for the posts. Then I post it to my LinkedIn. I just use that get a file and the LinkedIn post text here. On Instagram, I don't use that image, but I use the Instagram image that we created just in the step before, this one-to-one image. Then we have Facebook, which again uses that get a file function here. And on X, I need 2 steps. The first thing is that I have to post the media to X. And then with that upload a media, I get a media ID that I can then refer to in my post module here. So I have the text content here and the media ID here. And then it's a post using text and picture. And I have a Medium account where I release my blog posts as well. So I just add this Medium module with the title, HTML format, and title, image, article, and citations, and this URL that refers, that links to my blog. And I update the Airtable again, and I inform myself, okay, now we are finally done with the whole process. That's quite a story. So beginning from an idea, using the research, writing the blog post, creating the social media, the carousels, the images and everything, and at the end, post everything on the social media platforms. Thank you for your subscription and your comments. And if you want to book a call with me about this or another automation, just use the link below in the description. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye.